Hello and welcome to today's Rystad Energy webinar that will tell you about our new product, Oilfield Service Analytics. My name is Isaac Robertson and I am a sales and marketing representative at Rystad Energy and will be moderator for this webinar. Our webinars run as part of our frequent industry insights around upstream oilfield services, North America shale, market and renewable solutions. We offer various industry newsletters as well as information sessions, webinars, and similar types of events, which we invite you to sign up to if you haven't already done so. So please keep an eye out in your inbox or visit our webpage for upcoming events and for newsletter sign up. Today, I have Matthew Fitzsimons, our VP of Cost Analysis at Rystad Energy, that will walk you through our latest short-term oil market outlook and introduce you to our new product offering, Oilfield Service Analytics. We will now commence with the presentation. On your webinar window, you are able to see a chat box where you're welcome to raise any questions you may have during or after the course of this webinar. We will respond to each of the questions following the webinar. The presentation will last approximately 30 minutes, and with that, I now hand you over to Matthew.
Thank you, Isaac, and welcome everyone to our Rystad webinar. Today, while we'll be speaking about Oilfield Service Analytics, the first chart will show you at Rystad we also offer upstream oilfield service market, meaning oil and gas markets, and renewable products that are available to help your specific needs. With today's kickoff of Oilfield Service Analytics, or as we would like to refer to it, the Oilfield Service Encyclopedia, we're offering a new solution to help both complement and enhance our existing database offerings within oilfield services. And so our analytics builds upon the databases that currently exist within our oilfield service solutions. These include pre-made monthly reports, fact sheets, which we'll dive into further detail in just a moment, as well as regular commentaries. These commentaries help analyze current events that are happening within the industry. While this analytics is part of the database subscription, it alternatively can be purchased as a separate standalone subscription for clients. So the Global Oilfield Services Solutions encompasses 5 databases, with each having its own suite of analytics to offer to clients. Our demand and our supply cubes, are the 2 databases there on the left-hand side of your screen, are offered with Oilfield Service Analytics. These include both demand and supply in the form of a monthly report, which we'll dive into in further detail, as well as they provide commentaries to help you keep informed and understand current industry trends. And our fact sheets, which on the next chart we'll dive into what the types are, allow you to go through our library of tens of thousands of fact sheets to see information that is current and relevant for your specific business need. Our Rig Cube is complemented by Rig Analytics. Those also have a similar monthly report that is given out to clients on a monthly basis. We also have commentaries for current events, as well as additional fact sheets for our clients to be able to look through. And this is all focused on supply and demand of rigs globally. Jumping over to the far right, our Well Cube complements the Rig Cube very nicely, where it also looks at wells on a global basis and again uses the reports, commentaries, and fact sheets. Our Subsea Cube, complemented by Subsea Analytics, will be coming shortly and should be launched in the near future. Diving into a little bit more detail on what the Oilfield Service Analytics includes, the Oilfield Service Report is a monthly report that covers all of the different segments within the oilfield service industry, from seismic and well services to EPCI and maintenance, and gives you lots of granular details such as vessel counts, well counts, and spend in all of the different segments. Our commentaries give you key events that impact your business. Just recently, several weeks ago, we had a commentary out that came out the same day that discussions between the US and China were escalating to show what that meant for oil field service companies and how that could impact their business. Our fact sheet library includes projects, operators, service companies, service segments, and dives into market share as well as geography. And you can see on the right-hand side there, the volume of that library is fairly robust, where we have over 30,000 oil and gas projects that you can pick and choose from that you're most interested in. For operators, we have over 2,500 E&Ps that are there. We detail 500 supplier businesses. We try and focus on companies with 10 million in revenues or greater for those service companies, or how they're identified. We also break out our service segments and market shares, and then again, geography based on what regions of the world you want to learn more about. To give you a feel for what these analytics look like, in the top left-hand part of the screen, you'll see the monthly oil field service report. And while those icons feel small, don't worry, we will go through that report to show you further examples of how those charts look. On the bottom left, you'll see again small icons of the fact sheets that are included in the analytics offering. And again, I want to reassure you, you'll get to see some of those during the course of this webinar. Our commentaries examples are shown on the top right, and all of these can be accessed through our client portal, which is being launched soon, and you can see the template of that in the bottom right-hand part of the screen. And with that, I will now move to the oil field service monthly report to help show you in greater detail what we do on a monthly basis for clients and the value it can bring to you. This report, issued on a monthly basis, covers 5 key segments, or 5 key chapters, and in those we dive into greater detail. The market drivers helps to focus on what is happening to oil prices throughout the world, as well as dives into general market trends that we see going on a month in, month out basis. Our market insights in general focus on, for oil field services, what is happening to that market. And we'll dive into some of those slides in just a moment so you can see some examples of what is shown. And for one example, how oil field service purchases from 2017 to 18 increased from 3.2 to 3.5% in our last release, and why we feel that that is increasing. We also dive into our market service segment types, covering both maintenance and operations, well services, drilling contractors, subsea, EPCI, and seismic, and dive into greater detail about what is happening in each of those businesses and where we see that trending in the near future. Our monthly topic for April was about our resource type cost analysis. And for those monthly topics, we try and work and reach out to our existing clients to see what is it that they want to learn more about, and how can we analyze that for them and give them greater granularity to add value for them. And so this, from by demand of our existing clients, we came up with a resource type cost analysis for April. And then last but not least, we talk about market revisions to try and help show full transparency as our data evolves and enhances. We want to show where we see things changing and where month in and month out we have changed data, both within the database as well as in the analysis that you see in the monthly report. And so for each of the chapters, we dive into greater detail. On oil price, we show how our long-term oil price view has slightly come down for the month of April, and we give a lot of rhetoric to show why and help explain that. We also dive into what is happening on greater detail for medium oil price and where we see those oil prices going. For our Cube users, they are still able to run their own oil price sensitivities inside of the databases. However, for those who only subscribe to the analytics, these pages we feel are very important so they understand the base underlying assumptions of the remainder of the forward-looking forecasts in our report. For gas prices, similarly, we show where we feel gas prices are going, as well as some historical context of where they have been in the past, and we write about that as well on the left-hand side. For spending drivers, we try not only to show on the top row there of where the releases have been changing and how the market has been evolving from an investment standpoint, but then we also show for you for the different supply segments, for the different resource types, where we see them going, and whether that's a large drop off in oil sands investment from 2017 to 18 of 16.6%, to the boom that is shale of 20% growth year on year from 2017 to 18. We try and capture everything from those two extremes and in the middle for you. We then also dive into project statuses. So we look at new discoveries here. We covered the Pecora Wildcat that was drilled and successfully marked a discovery in Guyana. Guyana for ExxonMobil, while it has been a pretty big success, this field in particular, we think will show $5 billion plus US in contract opportunities over the next 5 years. And we don't just focus on the one well that, or the one field, we also show upcoming fields that could potentially happen based on our wells to watch. From project sanctioning standpoint, we break down what the projects have been sanctioned from the previous month. In this one, you'll see the Balam project in Mexico and the Njord in Norway that were both recently sanctioned, those being fixed and subsea tiebacks, respectively. We also break down in the middle, what are the contract opportunities for service companies? So how do we see those projects being expending their expending money to be able to develop those fields? And then we also show what has happened on the rightmost column from a sanctioning standpoint, and which fields are being delayed or pushed out and which fields are being accelerated, to help you see month in and month out what is changing in our database. We also go to field startups. What are the recent fields that have started up, and what are those maintenance contract opportunities? In the middle portion, you'll see the South Pars field phases 22 to 24 in Iran will give over $1 billion over the next 5 years, we estimate, in contract opportunities. So we try and identify that on a month in, month out basis, so you don't have to do that analysis yourself. We then move again to the oil field service general section of the report. This initially will give you market insights both for offshore and onshore, where you can see both how the data is evolving and what is happening in the marketplace, as well as where dollars are going to be spent going forward. We then break that down for you into further granularity. So if you wanted to see land drillers and how that is going to progress in 2017 to 2018, you can look up and see that that's going to be a 9% growth. We show service segments in the leftmost column, and then we break that down by different sub-segments, if you will, in the next column, and then show you both their market size as well as their growth year on year, and then a long-term view of 2018 to 2021 showing annual growth. If you're not as concerned with service segments and you want to see continents and regions, we also break that down both by an offshore and onshore and oil sands shale, different resource types. And then you can see things like how in North America shale, we predict 23% growth from 2017 to 18, and how that resource type in that region is really heating up. And then to combine them, you'll see the top row of this slide will show you all of the different service segments. And then the leftmost vertical column will show you again the continents and the different resource types. And you can see in each of the different combinations how those are either growing or reducing on a year-on-year basis, projecting from 2017 to 2020. We then dive into further detail of the service segment types. We first give an overview of all of the different segments that we cover, whether it's maintenance and operations, well services, drilling, subsea, engineering, procurement, construction, installation, or EPCI, as well as seismic. And then within each of those fields, we dive a little bit deeper. So you'll see in the maintenance and operations that we break that even further down into operational support, maintenance, offshore facility leasing, and offshore vessels. And then when we start to dive into further detail with that, we look at, for operational support, For this month, the number of projects that we're producing, budgets for 2018 and where money is going to be spent, and you'll see 75% of that is being spent on onshore facilities out of a total of 88 billion US dollars we forecast for 2018. And then you also can see annual purchases by continent on the right-hand side, where we project close to a 6% annual growth from 2018 to 2021. One thing to note with all of the charts you're about to see, we change these on a monthly basis because the data does not change that drastically on a month in, month out. So every month we take a new slice and we try and divide the data in a different format and in a different way to help give you further insights month in and month out. You can see for maintenance, similarly, we break down the number of projects, both starting up and shutting down, where you can see our projection for 2019 in offshore is 40 projects to start up, with 57 being decommissioned. We also talk about the number of startups and shutdowns by region and break that down by continent. And then annual purchases, again, you could see a projected 6% growth, which is a nice, decent rebound after a 25% decline from 2014 to 2016 in this segment. We then move into offshore facility leasing, where again, we talk about the operating FPSOs across the globe. We go into contracts in the middle column, and then we talk about annual purchases. You'll see for this month, we focused a lot of annual purchases by continent and by region. In prior months, we had done it by facility type, as well as other different breakdowns of that data. You'll see on the contract awards, I'd like to direct your attention for this to the middle, where we have both owned and leased vessels, and those broken down with further color for you to help give you further details about what is going on in the segment. For offshore vessels as well, we talk about the vessel demand type, and you can see that offshore vessels demand we project to increase by 7% annually from 2018 to 2021. We also talked about vessel demand by region and broke that down. Where are those vessels being required to support which projects? And then again, you'll see annual purchases by region to help you see which regions are expecting growth in the near future and where to focus your business for the near future. We also talk through contract awards. This will be a similar chart for some of the others, where we talk about which service company has been awarded a contract for what operator, what is the scope, and we estimate what that value is for you to help you better understand it. Moving into well services and commodities, we have a similar set of charts, and for the best interest of time, I'll make sure to try and walk through these quickly so you can still see some of the other analytics products that I had promised. We talk completion and intervention here, where you can see there are 2 million active wells in the middle of your chart, and the majority of those being in North America. We also talk through drilling tools and services, where the drilling activity, drilling days, and annual purchases are all broken down for you here by region, because that was the flavor for this April report, to help show which regions were having activity and how much and how they were growing. And that helps you determine that for drilling activity in North America from 2017 to 18, we have seen and are projecting for the end of 2018 an 18.2% growth for this segment. In well services and commodity stimulation, we also talk through 3 different segments here. We're talking about the completed wells, completed shale wells specifically, the pumping intensity, and annual purchases, and all of those broken down, those charts, with explanations from our analyst team to help you understand what they're trying to show with that chart. For OCTG, again, a similar breakdown, trying to show a thorough view of what is going on in that segment. And we do contracts again for this segment, which are the big contracts and where is work being awarded. For drilling contractors, we go to offshore and land drillers. For our land drillers, what we looked at was we tried to investigate a little bit on Weatherford's rig fleet divestment. That was also part of a commentary that we had out when this was happening. And so we tried to inform folks that it was going on when the news had broke, as well as, because this is the first monthly report to come out, we wanted to also highlight it when we got to the land driller section. We talk offshore drillers. We talk both jackup and semi-drill ships and show, again, a supply and demand balance of what we see is going on. And you'll see those are all done in rig years on the left-hand part of the screen. For subsea, we talk through both subsea equipment, SURF, and subsea services to give further details on those. And we try and focus again for subsea equipment, at least, on contract awards, trees being installed, and annual purchases, again, divided by region. You'll see on the left-hand side of your screen for greenfield contract awards, the different service companies that have been winning those awards, as well as an unknown, meaning to be awarded still during the year. For SURF, we have similar breakdowns on contract awards, greenfield awards, and annual purchases. You'll see in the greenfield awards on the middle column of your screen that we have Statoil having 7% of the nearly $9 billion US. However, the lion's share are others, meaning that while 60% of those are the top 5, we have another 42% of other companies to be awarding during the year. Subsea services, we show Christmas trees as well on the subsea trees, the intensity, and the annual purchases. And those trees you can see in the charts on the bottom left and the bottom middle of your screen. We go through contract awards as well. Here you'll see that there was more activity in subsea for the month versus some of the other contract awards that we decided to show. Technip FMC winning with Energean, a large contract. You can see that award close to $600 million, we estimate it, and we break that down into both subsea equipment and SURF to help you get a flavor for the different segments we have where those monies are being awarded. Similarly, we have EPCI, and I'll quickly go through this. We have engineering, where award activity, greenfield award, and annual purchases. We have construction and installation that shows the same types of breakdowns, as well as equipment showing award activity, both from historic as well as to be awarded in 2018. You could see for equipment, the Middle East, Asia, and Europe look to be the leaders for 2018 Greenfield Equipment Awards. And we do that again so you can understand the activity that is going on and where it is going on. Seismic is the last major category that we have for the oil field services. And in that, we talk about exploration, we talk license rounds, where upcoming leases, for example, in Dominican Republic, hosting their first ever licensing round to have 2 offshore and 2 onshore blocks to be awarded. And we try and give you up-to-date information as to who has been awarded, recent rounds, as well as where are they coming in the near future. And then we go to our monthly topic. I touched on it earlier. The monthly topic is meant to try and show where our clients have interest. This one was a resource type cost analysis where we talked about the cost evolution of different resource types. We talked through the average break-even prices of different resource types. We talked about unit prices and how they were trending. We talked cost structure of where it was and where it was going for both shale and deep water, and try and give them some insights as to what they want to see. And then we talk market revisions to try and be as transparent as possible as to where we see both short-term and long-term, and by service segment, where the market is trending and where it is going in the near future. And so with that, that wraps up at least the report portion of the Oilfield Services Analytics. We also have commentaries that we hand out. This one shows McDermott and CBI combining, and that was a December 2017 release. And then we show as well, where does that rank them among other service companies? We try to publish several a week, if not one a week, to give some insights as to things that are happening and make sure that our clients are well educated as to what is going on in the marketplace. We also have fact sheets that we like to show. I'll quickly show you the Johan Castberg fact sheet as a field in Norway. And what the fact sheets try to do is show a summary as to the type of field it is. You can see the purchases broken down on the bottom part of the screen by service segments, as well as we dive into further details about the field, meaning where is it located to shore, what is the water depth, where are the tie-ins, to give you some further analysis as to what is happening. When will the project start spending money? Where do we see that spend happening? As well as we dive into the purchases by segment and by year. And on the right-hand side, you can see contract awards for each of the different service segments, and you get cost analysis on this as well. Now, these reports, again, just to reiterate, are for the 30,000 projects that we have, and they're all available to you on the client portal for your use at your convenience when you want them. And they're all updated with our latest and greatest information, which is why we have them on the portal. So if we see something in the marketplace or we see a change in this field, we update it in the database, and then the report is updated. So you always have the latest up-to-date information to use. To go through rig analytics, this is our second group of analytics that we offer. It focuses on offshore drillers, and you'll see that it's structured fairly similar to the OFS analytics offerings. What we have in this, again, are monthly reports, which I'll quickly flip through a few slides. They're of similar flavor to the OFS monthly report, which is why I'll only quickly go through them. However, they give some very good granular details surrounding the rig market. We also have a library of detailed rig market fact sheets, which go rig by rig to help you understand those a little bit better or learn some information about them. And then similarly, we have commentaries, and again, all accessible through the client portal. I'll go to the rig report for the offshore. It is structured to talk about floater and jackup, as well as project status. We give rig rates, utilization. We have short and medium term demand, as well as top offshore drill down news. And when we say the highlights, we try and talk about both new contracts, the average rates, contract durations, the deliveries that are happening, and the number of rig years that have been awarded that we have seen so far. And then we give some color on that. We do that both for floaters and for jackups, and you can see the differences there. And then we talk about discoveries and what does that mean for the rig market. We talk about project sanctioning, where you can see in 2018, we feel offshore projects will jump from 63 to 117. And then we talk a little bit about the rates and where are those rates, and give those to our clients of what we see. Utilization, we talk about from both the ultra deep water, and then more medium water, where the rig utilization is. And you can see right now we're seeing all three kind of converge between a 40 and 50% range. We look at long-term contracts and where those contracts are going to, as well as we try and dive a little bit deeper into that for both floaters and jackup rigs. For a floater overview, we also talk through the different types of rigs and where they are and what their coverage is for 2018. And then similarly, as I mentioned previously, jackup rates, we go through the same types of charts, the same flavor of information. So if you're interested in floaters or jackups, you can see those pieces of information and compare them if you will, or just use the one that's most relevant for you. We also have short-term supply and demand and how that looks for 2018. And then we go into other observations and other news and market drivers. So hopefully that gives you a good flavor for that type of report and what that report offers for you. We have commentaries as well that come out. These commentaries for the rigs tend to focus more on contract news on a week in, week out basis and tell you things about how Deep Sea Atlantic was able to get an award or a letter of intent, from Statoil. And then the last thing I had prepared to show everyone here before we open it up for questions was the rig fact sheet, and what does that look like? So for Scarabeo 7, we have a rig fact sheet, and these rig fact sheets are very specific and tailored to each of the rigs. They give you the capabilities of the rigs and what type of water depth they can reach, as well as what are the average day rates, their contract utilizations, and some other general information. We dive further into what the content of the rigs, what the geography, where are they working, for who are they working, and what types of work are they typically doing. And as you can see here, we then dive further and further into the drilling equipment, the different contract histories, our rig rate analysis to show both from the high side and low side of rig rates that we've tracked, where have they been and what types of awards have they gotten. And so with that, I'll turn it back over to Isaac.
Thank you for listening in, and thank you, Matthew, for giving this fantastic overview of our new Oilfield Service Analytics. With this, we conclude today's webinar. If you would like a more in-depth product demonstration, please do not hesitate to contact us and one of our sales team will be in touch. Once again, thank you for attending.